Hello everybody, and thanks for tuning in to the new episode of PerfectEnglish.TV. I'm your host, Steve Stark, and today we're going to learn how to talk about the present using simple present and present continuous. The two tenses are very different, but they're used a lot together, and they're used to say many different things. So stay tuned, the lesson begins right now on PerfectEnglish.TV. Alright everybody, so let's take a look at the examples from the video, and the first sentences we want to look at are the simple present sentences. So we have, this is Faisal. Faisal is one of my students. He plays golf every weekend. And what do you think? If you look at the timeline, what you can see is the verb is in the past, in the present, and in the future. And what this is communicating is a general truth. It's a state of being for Faisal because he is Faisal. It's something that does not change as time moves on. Simple present is used to express general truths and routines and habits. Things that are always true, or never true, or true with some frequency between always and never. In a similar way, Faisal is one of my students. He was my student in the past, he is still my student, and he will always be my student because my students are always my students. So we would say, Faisal is one of my students, because it's a general truth. It's not a continuous action. When we say, he plays golf every weekend, this sentence expresses a routine or a habit that Faisal has. He plays golf every weekend means every Friday or Saturday or Sunday, Faisal plays golf. It means that is his routine. That is his habit. It is not normal if a weekend comes and Faisal does not play golf. For the last example from simple present, we have a question. What do you think? This question is asked in the simple present for a few reasons. Firstly, it's a general question. I want to know, what is your opinion? What ideas do you have in your head about Faisal's dancing? The other thing is that some verbs are not used in continuous tenses. They are usually used in simple tenses or other tenses, but not continuous tenses. And this is because these verbs happen inside us, or inside the thing that does the action. They're not physical actions out in the world. They happen in here or in here. So they're not exactly the same as certain physical actions that can be continuous. So what do you think? Think is one of these verbs. It happens in our head. So we use a simple tense usually with this verb. And we'll talk more about that as the lesson continues. So, to review the rules for when to use simple present, we use simple present to communicate general truths, things that were true in the past, true now, and true in the future. They're really situational. They're not continuous actions. And we also use simple present to communicate routines and habits, things that we do the same way every time.
We'll talk about simple present some more in a little while, but now let's go on and talk about present continuous a little bit, using the examples from the Faisal video. The first example we have from the video is, right now, he isn't playing golf. And then we have, he is dancing with his golf club. And then we have a question. Is Faisal being silly or is he dancing well? And that's up to you to decide. But we're going to look at these examples right now. First, we have, he is dancing with his golf club. What this communicates is an action that is happening right now at the time of speaking. So we have an action that started a little while in the past, it has continued until now, and it will continue for some time into the future. The important thing to realize is that this is a physical action in the physical world, and it started in the past, it continued until now, it has continued till now, and it will continue for some time into the future, which means also that it will stop at some time in the future. So this is a temporary action, and this is an important feature of actions that are expressed with the present continuous. They must be temporary actions. The other sentence that we have from the video is actually an interesting example. It says, right now, he isn't playing golf. What that actually means is that at some time in the past, when he was playing golf, he stopped playing golf, and he continued not to play golf until right now, and he still is not playing golf, and he will not play golf for some time into the future until he goes to the golf course. So it's a continuous negative action, or maybe you could say a non-action in this case. Now, for the question that we have regarding Faisal, is he being silly or is he dancing well? We have two actions in the present continuous, is being and is dancing. Normally, to be is a verb that we do not use in continuous tenses, but as you will see, to be is one of the verbs that can be used with a special meaning in the present continuous. The other verb, is dancing, is a physical action in the world, so it is normal to be able to use that in a continuous tense. Now let's review the rules for when to use present continuous. Firstly, present continuous is used to communicate temporary physical actions that are happening at the time of speaking. These actions began in the past, they have continued as actions until this moment, the time of speaking, and they will continue for some time into the future. Then they will stop because they are temporary. Now let's go back to simple present for a little more information. Remember, simple present is used to talk about facts, habits, and routines, and we also use frequency adverbs with simple present to explain how frequent or how common a particular habit or routine is. We also use time phrases that communicate a general period of time with simple present. Some of the most common adverbs of frequency which we use with simple present are always, usually, sometimes, rarely, and never. And these communicate, again, how frequently we do something. For example, I could say, I always watch TV. And this communicates that it is very, very common for me to watch TV. If it's a little bit less than that, I could say, I usually watch TV, which still means it's very common, but always is saying that it's almost 100% of the time, right? So maybe all the time when I am at home, or every night of the week, something like that. Usually is a step down from there. Sometimes I watch TV is less common. It's still common, but not so much as always or usually. If I say, I rarely watch TV, that's going in the other direction. That means it's not very common for me to actually watch TV. It happens, but not usually. And lastly, if I say, I never watch TV, that's 0 or close to 0 when I actually watch TV. Maybe I truly, truly never watch TV, or maybe I watch a little bit of TV sometimes, but not very much. For general time phrases that we use with simple present, we have so many, but here are just a few examples. We could say every day, every week. We can say each month, every year. If you want to talk about a specific month, you could say every July, every June, each August, each winter, each fall, each spring, each summer, each Christmas, each New Year's. If there are specific activities you do on specific days of the week, you could say on Mondays. For example, on Mondays, I put out the trash. Or on Fridays, I go to yoga class. And of course, there are many things that we only do on the weekends, so we could say on the weekend or on the weekends. Either way. Like with simple present, with present continuous, we also have time phrases that we can use. Only these time phrases are not general time phrases, they're temporary time phrases. So we use periods of time that are not going to last forever. They are shorter periods of time. Remember that with present continuous, we use the tense to communicate temporary physical actions that began in the past, continue now, and will continue into the future. We can say things like right now, or at the moment, or currently, or presently. And these are all ways of saying now, at the immediate moment that I'm speaking. I can also say today with present continuous. Today I am working. Well, that means during the temporary period of time that we call today, I am working. I started working in the morning, I continue to work until now, and I will continue to work into the future, right? This week, this month, this year, all of these phrases are temporary time periods, so we can use them with present continuous. Another matter regarding present continuous and simple present, which I mentioned a little while ago, is that there are some verbs that we normally do not use in a continuous tense. These verbs are stative verbs. They describe a state of being or something that happens within us, not something that happens out here in the world. So these types of verbs are usually used with simple tenses, not continuous tenses. These verbs are often sensory verbs like see, hear, taste, touch, smell, feel. They're also verbs that happen in your head. Here is a small list of these kinds of verbs. We have verbs like know, understand, think. We have like, love, dislike, hate, agree, hope, fear, look like, seem, appear. We have other verbs like promise, want, need, have, remember, forget. All of these are verbs that happen inside us, not out in the world. So usually they are in a simple tense rather than a continuous tense. Some of these verbs, which are normally used in simple tenses, can be used in a continuous tense, but they have a very specific meaning. For example, I can say something like, the kids are having fun. This means that the kids are experiencing fun right now. So we can use the verb to have in a continuous tense to communicate the experience that someone is having right now. I'm having fun, or I'm having a bad time, or I'm having a great time, or I'm having trouble with my test, or I'm having trouble with my homework. Things like that. It's about the experience of enjoyment or lack of enjoyment in what you're doing right now. As another example, you could say something like, I'm thinking about my vacation in France. And what this means is different than I think. I am thinking about means I am going through all of the details in my mind, all of the details on this topic. So I am thinking about my vacation in France. That means all of the details. I'm thinking about the hotel. I'm thinking about the airplane ride and maybe the food on the airplane and all the restaurants either I'm going to or maybe I already went to in France. Every detail, I'm thinking about it. That's different than if I say something like, I think France is nice. That kind of think is not a continuous action right now. It's a belief in my mind. It's a feeling in my heart. I think France is nice is an opinion, right? It's what I believe about France. So in that case, it's a general statement, so we use simple present. The structure of simple present is pretty simple, and most verbs are regular verbs and they follow this pattern. For example, if we take the verb to go, the to form of a verb is called the infinitive, but for simple present, you don't want the infinitive. You want to take to and throw it away because you only want the base verb. So if the infinitive is to go, the base verb is go. And you want to take go and put it after your subject. So I go, you go, we go, they go. The only time it is different is if your subject is he, she, or it. In this case, you need to add an ES. Normally, you're going to just add an S, but we're going to talk about that in a few moments. For this verb, go, it has to be ES. It sounds the same. It sounds like an S. So you'd say, he goes, she goes, it goes. And anybody's name or the name of any singular thing or idea or place, it would be goes, goes, goes. Steve goes, the car goes. Things like that, okay? It's always going to be goes for the third person, he, she, or it. So if we look a little more closely, you're going to say, I go, but he goes, she goes, it goes. I walk, but he walks, she walks, it walks. I fly, but he flies, she flies, it flies. Now, this is a bit of a spelling rule, but I told you with go, you need ES, but as you could see, with walk, you need S, walks. And with fly, you need IES, flies. So what is the rule? How do you know how to spell the ending? Well, here is the rule. If the base verb ends in Y, you're going to remove the Y and add IES. So fly becomes flies, cry becomes cries, try becomes tries. If the base verb ends in SS, CH, X, TCH, SH, ZZ, or O, you're going to add ES to the end of the base verb. And for all other verbs, you will just add an S. Now let's look at how to ask questions in simple present. We have two kinds of questions for any tense. We have yes/no questions, which can be answered with the simplest answer, yes or no. And we also have information questions, and these questions require more detail to answer them. For a yes/no question in simple present, there are two ways we could do it, depending on what we are asking about. If you want to ask someone about their routines and habits, so actions that they do generally, you're going to use do or does plus the subject plus the base verb of whatever action you're talking about. Let's look at a few videos and see some examples. Do I need to shave? Yes, you do. No, you don't. Do you like cycling? Yes, I do. No, I don't. Or, yes, we do. No, we don't. Do we have time for a coffee? Yes, we do. No, we don't. Do they want to go swimming? Yes, they do. No, they don't. Does she play the piano? Yes, she does. No, she doesn't. Does he travel a lot? Yes, he does. No, he doesn't. Does it snow in your country? Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. In simple present, you can also ask yes or no questions about qualities or states of being that people and things have. These are not actions per se, so instead of using do, you're going to use the verb to be. And in this case, you're going to say am, is, or are, depending on the subject. Am, is, or are, plus the subject, plus an adjective or an object. So let's look at some videos again and see some more examples of how this will work. Am I well dressed? Am I a spy? Yes, you are. No, you aren't. Are you healthy? Are you a jogger? Yes, I am. No, I'm not. Are we late? Are we commuters? Yes, we are. No, we aren't. Are they strong? Are they nurses? Yes, they are. No, they aren't. Is he athletic? Is he a soccer player? Yes, he is. No, he isn't. Is she comfortable? Is she a workaholic? Yes, she is. No, she isn't. Is it hot? Is it a hot place? Yes, it is. No, it isn't. So those are the ways to ask yes, no questions in simple present. But if you want more details and more information from somebody, you need to ask an information question. So to ask an information question, you need to begin with one of the WH words. So who, what, where, why, when, or how. We have 6 of them, and they will be the first word in your question. To ask information questions in simple present, in order to learn more about qualities or states of being of things, you're going to use the structures on the left side of the screen. So you will have a WH word, plus the correct form of to be, plus the subject that you are asking about. If you want to ask information questions about people's routines and habits in the simple present because you want to know more about them, in that case, you're going to use the structures on the right side of the screen. So you will use the WH word plus the verb to do, plus the subject, and then the base verb that you are asking about. Let's look at some videos and some examples to see how this works. Who am I? Who do you think I am? What is that song? What music does she like to play? Where is he? Why is he there? Where do they usually buy their coffee? Why do they drink so much coffee? When is he able to practice? When does he prefer to practice? How tired are they? How do they ride so far? Now let's take a look at how to form verbs correctly in the present continuous. Unlike simple present, present continuous is a compound tense. This means that the verb always has 2 or more parts, and in the case of present continuous, it has 2 parts. It has the verb to be in the simple present, and then your main verb is going to be in the ing form. So let's take a look at how you would do that. You would say, I am ing, you are ing, we are ing, they are ing, and he is ing, she is ing, it is ing. For example, I am eating, you are eating, we are eating, they are eating, he is eating, she is eating, it is eating. When asking questions in present continuous, we can also ask yes/no questions or information questions. There is only one way to ask a yes/no question in present continuous. And for that, you're going to start with the verb, in this case, the verb to be, then the subject, and then the ing verb that you are talking about. So let's look at some examples. Is he flying through space? Yes, he is. No, he is not. No, he's not. No, he isn't. Is he traveling alone? Yes, he is. No, he is not. No, he's not. No, he isn't. Are they enjoying their vacation? Yes, they are. No, they are not. No, they're not. No, they aren't. Is it snowing a lot right now? Yes, it is. No, it is not. No, it's not. No, it isn't. Are we watching a musical superstar? Yes, we are. No, we are not. No, we're not. No, we aren't. Am I wearing fancy clothes? Yes, you are. No, you are not. No, you're not. No, you aren't. When you want more information in an answer to your question, you're going to need to use an information question form in present continuous. In this case, you're going to use one of the structures that you see here on the screen. You're going to begin with a WH word, and then you're going to have the verb to be, am, is, or are, plus the subject, and then the ing verb. Once again, let's take a look at some examples to see how it works. Who is she emailing? What are they talking about? Where is she running? Why are they hurrying? When are they thinking about stopping? How is the patient feeling? When thinking about pronunciation in the simple present, the most important thing to remember is that S sound at the end of the verb for he, she, and it. This is something that many people make mistakes with. Many people throughout the world, even native English speakers, forget this S all the time. But to speak correctly and to sound like you truly know how to speak English, you need to pronounce this S. So let's look at some examples. I would like you to listen to me and then repeat each example. Here we go. He goes. She goes. It goes. And now another verb. He wants. She wants. It wants. Now let's look at the uncontracted and contracted forms of the verb to be. Without a contraction, the long form is he is. So listen and repeat. He is. And then the contracted form is he's. She is. She's. It is. It's. He has. She has. It has. When thinking about pronunciation with present continuous, the most important thing to remember is that in speech, we usually use the contracted form of the verb to be. So we combine that sound with the sound of the subject, right? We usually do not use contractions when we are writing, but in speech, they are more common. So let's practice a little bit in present continuous with these contractions. So listen and repeat. I am. And the contracted form, I'm. I am working. Or I'm working. You are. You're. You are working. You're working.
We are. We're. We are working. We're working. This next one has a funny looking symbol, but it's the TH sound with a vibration in your throat, like they. If you put your hand to your throat, you should feel it vibrate, and your tongue is out of your mouth. They. So in this case, they are. There. They are working. They're working. He is. He's. He is working. He's working. She is. She's. She's working. She is working. It is. It's. It is working. It's working. Good job. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are just about finished with today's lesson. I want to thank you so much for staying with us. But before we go, we have a few things to talk about. Number one, your homework. Use the comment section below this video and answer these two questions for me. Your first question is, who are you? What do you do? What do you want to do? Answer those questions for me using the simple present to tell me a little bit about yourself. I will be happy to check the answers and respond to you. Your second question will use a combination of simple present and present continuous to answer. And my question to you is, why are you studying English? Why do you want to learn English? Again, answer me in the comment section below and I'll write back to you and I'll let you know if you're using these two verb tenses correctly and if I see other mistakes that you could fix. Here are the answers to the pop quiz that you took a few moments ago. Please check the answers. I hope you did very, very well. Well, that's all we have for today, but thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of PerfectEnglish.TV. Once again, I've been your host, Steve Stark. And I want you to know that we have lots more videos coming your way. So please hit the like button below and the subscribe button. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And you can also reach out to us at PerfectEnglish.TV on Anchor app. If you have Anchor, it's a great new app which allows you to call in to me. You can call in and give me your answers over the phone, and then I can respond to you there too. I would be happy to do that. And one last thing, if you have something in English that you want to be taught, if there's some subject that you want practice with, let me know and I will be happy to give you a lesson on that. Thank you so much and I will see you next time on PerfectEnglish.TV.